James, you're on your way to the studio as it's going to be Lakers-Pelicans tonight. And because, look, the Pelicans are in the playoff picture right now. Zion's back, looking like a force. Brandon Ingram looks like a perennial all-star. So you know what the conversation is, I would assume, going to be on both broadcasts, the exchange. You know, Anthony Davis delivered a title as the best in some games, if not the second best player on the floor every night in the bubble, and unfortunately just has not been as great since. But just kind of looking back on that trade, seeing what the picks have become. They still owe him a couple picks moving forward, and what Anthony Davis brought or continues to bring or doesn't bring, kind of your thoughts, reflecting on that trade a few years back that landed Anthony Davis here and sent a lot of talent and draft picks out.
Yeah, I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change anything, despite Anthony Davis, his injury history. He's still only 28 years old. He has delivered when he's on the floor. So at 28, 29, with a few more years left, I'm not sure his entire career is going to be with the Lakers. But given the fact that even though it was in the bubble, they still got a title. He has, given them what they've been looking for. Now, sustaining that is the question. Where do we go from here? I know that he's disappointed that, he's been injured. He's disappointed that, his rankings is going down. Those are the type of things that give players some incentive. And he's still young. Everybody's pulling for him. Kevin Garnett says he should, dominate. Perkins. Everybody sees the potential. It just seems like AD's got to bring it out of himself. So that's the challenge. But I do think the trade was a good one, and it's paid off.
James, it's not the first time we brought this up with you, but it is interesting that it happened right after we discussed it in their first win. Anthony Davis did not take a three-pointer. Almost every one of his shots was at the rim. I think he only had a single shot attempt beyond 15 feet. Russell Westbrook took 4 threes, but every one of his other shots at the rim, things those guys do well. How important is it for that to be sustained? And like you said, you don't like seeing the 30, 40 threes attempted for a team that struggles with shooting. How big of a part of that victory do you think it was, those guys kind of doing what they do best and not floating around on the outside waiting for threes to show up?
Yeah, stick to your bread and butter. If you got a steak, don't switch it up for spam. Go out there shooting threes and stuff. I think AD is a filet mignon in the paint. And I think there's a lot more improvement he could work on. Drop steps, going quicker, things like that. And I think, the less threes they shot, getting to the bucket, that gets you to the foul line. It puts pressure on the defense. I think that's why guys like Walker, Reeves, they got better uncontested three-pointers as opposed to, like, rushing it. So I think I know AD likes the 4. Okay, but on offense, to me, his biggest threat is down in that post. He's a really good free throw shooter, and that collapses the defense enough to make some passes. Guys are cutting. The closer that basketball is to the goal, the more pressure it puts on the defense. When you're standing out on the perimeter holding that ball and you got 5 guys setting in on you without any movement, it's easy to guard. You become your opponent's best defense when you play that way.
The great James Worthy is our guest, and we're happy to have him with us. I don't even feel like this. I know it's the case. We are way more attentive to wins and losses in pro basketball this year than we ever have been this early in the year because of the Dodgers' early exit from the playoff, James. So we are right on top of this. So maybe we're overreacting one way or the other. Just how different, even if they maintain the same personnel, how different is an NBA team after the new year into the middle of the season? How much do things change? How different will these teams in town change?
Well, I don't think you're overreacting at all, given who the Los Angeles Lakers are and who's on the team and what we expect. And we expect nothing short of a championship. I mean, I think Coach Ham might be onto something. He's been very delicate and very careful, I think, in these early stages. And I think now as he's starting to see, as things are starting to flow in, he'll get some players back. He'll get Bryant back. He'll get Schroeder back. And I think he's going to start to nail down some things, be a little bit more demanding. And so I think they like him. And I think they have bought into how he coaches and, his philosophy and what he says. So I think that's a good thing. So in time, when I look at Westbrook coming off the bench and, he's happy about that now. He seems to have calmed down and gotten away from the distractions. I only see the chemistry getting better, especially you get a few more wins under your belt. They got a tough schedule coming up, So I only see it getting better. And they still will have time to do something if, before trade deadline. But I think between now and Christmas, I think what I'm feeling, the vibe, and I think they're believing in what they're doing. The defense is good. We'll see.
James, you mentioned, trade deadline isn't coming until February. We heard, Rob Pelinka say that he wanted to see this group until Thanksgiving. I don't know if you saw it, but Miles Turner, goes on a podcast from Indiana, and that's what the deal was rumored to be. Buddy Hield, Miles Turner coming back for Russell Westbrook, and he was essentially, making a claim, come get me. We can fix this. I want to be part of this. Just kind of your thoughts on how long you want it. Look, they're 1-5. They've won 1 of 6 games. Like, how long would you let this thing try to be figured out before you'd say, all right, give up the draft picks, let's do something before it's too far gone?
Thanksgiving is a good margin. I like 15, 20 games. You can pretty much tell how things are going after 10, 15 games, playing against some quality teams. You've had time to communicate to your team, and they've had time to make adjustments, just like Westbrook coming off the bench, that kind of thing. They're having time to see. So, yeah, I mean, I said December early, but Thanksgiving or 10, 15 games to see how it's working out with veteran players. It shouldn't take that long. So, yeah, I mean, you don't want to wait too long. You don't want to wait until someone else, picks up what you're looking at. But I think if things not working out, in the next month or so, or before Thanksgiving, I think, yeah. I mean, GMs are always looking every day.
Oh, yeah.
They get offers every day. They got a big board with nothing but names on it. So I'm sure it's things are in the making. Whether it materializes or not, it's definitely being talked about.
If people are upset with Anthony Davis being banged up, what the hell's going on with Kawhi Leonard? I mean, no one even knows how bad he's hurt. If he's hurt, well, what's hurt? I guess his knee. If he's coming back, what do you make of that situation? This guy's been out for like 2 years.
Well, yeah, they give AD a hard time, but I think together last year, AD played more games than Paul George and Kawhi Leonard put together.
That's true.
So it's just odd. It just, to me, it just goes to show you that the Lakers, are still the team that people pay close attention to when it comes to that kind of thing. But yeah, I don't know what Kawhi's situation is. I think that knee, if I'm not recall, was the initial reason he was out. So whether it can take the mileage required night to night, or whether he's playing a game and that knee is not feeling good enough to play, I don't know. He's not playing. He's not going on this road trip, from what I understand. So that's 2 more games. I think that's 7 he would have missed. So that's something to think about when you think about the Clippers being really good. having a chance, to pull something off, if they can stay healthy. Maybe they're saving Kawhi for that moment. There's a lot of pressure on Paul George, though. And when it comes to seeding, where they want to be as far as the seed is concerned and how they will use Kawhi. But I don't know. It's a mystery. Nobody knows exactly what it is, but he's definitely number one when it comes to load management.
Congratulations,
number one
Kawhi.
load manager. I'm the number one load manager. I got a trailer load of loads to manage.
James Worthy, number one when it comes to television basketball analysis. You'll watch him tonight on the way into tip-off. It is Lakers Pelicans tonight, and James Worthy joins us, brought to you by the Ford F-150 with combined toughness and intelligence. Test drive one at your local Southern California Ford dealerships today. James, have a great broadcast. We always